What can someone today listening do to be ahead of 99% of people?
They can develop their discipline within themselves. I think discipline, if used correctly, is possibly the greatest form of self-love, because you don't have to have any discipline to do something that's not good for you. So if you want to, sleep in every single day of your life, you don't have to have discipline for that. If you don't want to go to the gym, you don't have to have discipline for that. If you want to just eat the crappiest food that's out there, you don't need discipline for it. But if you want to wake up earlier, you want to make sales calls, grow a business, if you want to get your body in the healthiest shape you possibly can, you need discipline for it. And discipline is always needed for something that is good for you. And so the thing that I think people need to do is they need to develop a different relationship with discipline so that they don't think I'm doing this because I hate myself or because something's wrong or because whatever it might be. It's I'm going to become a more disciplined person because I love myself so much. I know what my life could be if I take this action, and my life will be better if I take this action. I don't want to take this action, but I know that my life will be better if I take this action. So I'm going to take this action because I know future me will thank me for it. And so I think if people need to figure out, how do I get ahead of other people? The thing that I think is, well, what is everybody else doing? And do the exact opposite. Most people are hanging out on their phone. They're not doing a whole lot. And so I'm looking at that and going, well, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to do the things I don't want to do that I know that are good for me. I'm going to develop a different relationship with discipline. I'm going to be more consistent in everything that I do. And I think if people just do that for a long enough period of time, then their entire life is going to change.
Discipline is the ability to choose discomfort.
Yes.
When your mind and brain want to do the easy thing. And I think that's partly the challenge, where I know I need to wake up early. I know my phone distracts me. I know I want to work out. I know I want to build my business. I know I want to get better at sales. I know that, but I can't do it. And I try, and maybe I do it for 3 days and then I fall off again.
Some of the time, you will not want to do the thing. The motivation will spike here. What it takes to get the thing done is up here. And at that point, there's not an amount of motive. You're all done motivating. It's still not enough. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've been through this, Chris, but like you have to do a hard thing. Maybe it's at the end of the day, maybe it's in the middle, maybe it's some big deal. And you like know logically it's important. It's got to get done. And you try to search inside for like that. Like those old ninja movies where the guy would get beat up and then he would meditate and he would like remember his teaching and he'd come out like that shit, where the fuck is that? I've done that searching. It is just not there. Have you ever come up just totally dry on any reason why you should be there? Someone's like, you're like in the green room, like waiting to get interviewed. And someone's like, all right, you're up in 30 seconds. You just don't want to be there. And you're like, okay, mind, tell myself something that makes me want to be here. It's just like, huh? What? Oh, where the fuck why are we in a green room? Oh, hey, have fun. You're like, oh, goddamn it, none of that worked. So there's nothing there. And just think, there's no one coming to save you.
The funny thing about it is that you right there, but you don't want to take that next step. Why? God already laid out your path for you. He's just waiting on you to walk it. You got to believe in yourself, because success is not on the other side of fear. And you got way too much potential to be wasting it on the thought of fear.
If people really knew how much volume and repetition it took, they wouldn't begin. And so I don't even think it's a bad thing that people don't understand. Because like if you really saw how far away the goalpost was, you'd be like, I can't do it. Because you can't do it. You couldn't even comprehend that because you're so far away from that type of person or that level of entrepreneur who'd be able to do it that it seems unfathomable. You think it's a couple steps ahead of where you are, and then you get a little bit better, and then you realize it's actually this much further, but then you get a little bit better, and then you realize it's this much further. And then eventually you start to realize, like when you look back at how much you did in order to get there, and then you're like, oh.
Discipline isn't sexy, it is boring. And boring is what scales, boring is what works. Because my life is a system. My life is a series of systems strung together every day. I have a system for working out. I have a system for my marriage. I have a system for my business. I have a system for my friendships. I have a system for my family. Like, I have a system for every aspect of my life. But here's the thing. Those systems, those are discipline. And they're real. Are they boring? For sure. They look boring from the outside. But they get the results that I'm looking for in my life.
Yeah. I don't care how good you are in anything. You don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
Nothing without discipline. Because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
I mean, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. That is a great quote.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, you could be successful in anything.
You know, you normally are.
A lot of people, wonder, how did you become this? How did you become so vulnerable? How are you doing a podcast now when you were this kid. You overcame things. You fought them. And now this is what happens. This is on the other side of overcoming. You become very, very powerful when you overcome yourself.
People won't want to hear this, but what you avoid controls you. If you avoid tough conversations, your relationships suffer. If you avoid risk, your business will suffer. If you avoid failure, your growth will suffer. If you think having uncomfortable conversations is hard, wait until you see the result of not having uncomfortable conversations. Much harder. At least for me, I just try and face the thing that I'm avoiding and constantly ask myself, like, what is that thing that I'm trying not to look at? And then force myself to stare at it, because usually the thing that scares you the most is the thing that you need most to face to move forward.
If you have architected your habits in such a way that make the whole process seem like it's downhill, if you can do that work, and it takes a while to learn all the skills and fit what's right for you, then at the end of the day, you end up starting big goals, and there's a little bit of learning curve. Once you're on track and habituated to them, it's just inevitable that they're going to fall pretty much, because someone's like, oh, it's going to be tough. You're like, I don't know, I'm just going to get it done. You know, imagine talking to someone who has run like hundreds of marathons, and you're talking to them at like mile 12 of a marathon they're just recreationally doing. You're like, pretty tough 12 miles up ahead. They're like, just one foot in front of the other. They're like, well, that's crazy. Like, well, yeah, but I have like 80 trillion habits of how to run marathons. This is actually just what I do at this point. I cannot oversell habit development. It's almost impossible.
You have to do it for you, because no one will see the amount of work. No, like if you want credit for the work, you've already lost. You can get credit for the outcome, but you will never get credit for the work. Like, you have to accept that. Real. You have to accept that. You will never get credit for the work. If anything, you will get criticized for the work. The people around you say you work too much. They'll try and pull you away from the work. But the work needs doing.
For me, discipline would be the number of times you can do a punishing behavior without receiving reward. If I can break the definition, then it can't be that, because then it means,
fair. Okay,
right?
okay. So wait, what did you
and
say?
So if I, and I'll give you a different example I had, because I was in the gym space, right? And so I had all these trainers who would like lecture people on how they weren't disciplined. But I was like, y'all aren't disciplined. And they were like, what do you mean? I wake up at 5 a.m. every day and I go to the gym. I was like, because you fucking like it. That's not discipline. It's about doing the things you don't like to do for an extended period of time without getting reward. So the more disciplined you are is how many times can you do a punishing event without receiving reward in a row? And then discipline then becomes not, are you disciplined or not disciplined, but how disciplined are you?
So every morning starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. So that's like my cup of coffee. And I'm all about armoring yourself. So the second you leave your house, you are now letting in poison and cancer. So I make sure a lot of things you can't avoid. So as I get up, I start to armor plate my mind and body. Like a person's going to war, you put your body armor on. That's what I'm doing on that run. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized, because I know I'm gonna get hit in the mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the mouth. And that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run.
You said before about how you build up self-esteem and confidence and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's this quote from one of my friends, Alex Hormozi, that says, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
Yes. That's
nailed.
Nailed.
Completely nailed.
Yes, because a lot of people will, and some of these motivational people out here, it's the funniest thing in the world to me. They'll go and say, when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest. You know, fucking look at yourself in the mirror and do all this fucking bullshit. I hope it works. What works for me is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You don't need to pound your chest in the mirror fucking anymore if you have that.
Hey dog, I'm gonna be straight up with you. If you don't get it right this year, you might not ever get it right. You've been getting year after year after year to handle your business, and you've been lacking on the job. You letting yourself down, and there's a slap to your future. 10 years from now, you're gonna dislike yourself for all the work that you put in today, and you gotta sleep with that reality for the rest of your life.
All of you that are listening, you're watching right now, you're already on the path. The fact that you're listening, this is the path. You don't have to start something new. You don't have to suddenly figure it out. You are figuring it out. That's why you're here. So please feel encouraged and fueled and connected, knowing that you've already committed. You're already showing up for yourself. You've already invested in yourself. The fact that you're here proves that you're already living the world that you want to live in. So don't feel like you've got to start something, figure it out, that you're stuck. You're already not stuck. You're already moving. If you were stuck, you wouldn't be here. If there's one message I want you to walk away with today, it's this. You have to disappear. Disappearing means doing the work. It means doing the work in the dark. It means building in private what you don't need to prove in public. It means doing the work when no one's watching. You stop worrying about what people think and start valuing what you believe. Because a life that looks good or sounds good is nothing compared to a life that feels good.